Okay, all protocols remain observed. So let me begin with a few fundamental questions that go to the heart of our national condition. Number one, why do we still have widespread poverty and deprivation in the Gambia? Why are infant and maternal mortality rates unacceptably high? Why is there so much waste in government? Why is public service delivery generally poor, erratic, and expensive? Why does corruption remain widespread and perennial? These are not abstract questions. They are questions that a multitude of Gambians are trying to find answers to without much success. Poverty, deprivation, infant mortality, maternal morbidity, wastage of state resources, poor service delivery, and an egregious corruption are lived realities for many Gambians. Yet this country is a very well-endowed nation. Government revenues from taxes, loans, and grants continue to increase. Public institutions are vested with immense constitutional and legal powers. They are equipped with tools, budgets, and human resources, while public officials enjoy salaries, allowances, and various immunities, privileges, and benefits. Yet, despite decades of public investment amounting to billions of dollars, the availability, accessibility, affordability, and quality of public goods and services remain severely limited and beyond the reach of many people. One has to only walk through our villages and towns and urban communities to be confronted by the stark realities: poor infrastructure, inadequate services, limited opportunities, and widespread deprivation. In the dry season, dust and dirt dominate daily life. In the rainy season, muddy roads and flooded streets become the norm, disrupting livelihoods, mobility, health, education, and so on. After 60 years of nationhood, the Gambia remains a least developed country, highly indebted, aid-dependent, and struggling with entrenched corruption. At the same time, our country has progressive laws and policies that recognize diversity and promote inclusion, non-discrimination, and equal participation. Yet discrimination, exclusion, and violence persist. Poverty, powerlessness, low representation remain disproportionately concentrated among women, youth, persons with disabilities, minorities, and rural communities. Individuals still face exclusion on the basis of sex, ethnicity, religion, origin, birth, and other status, despite constitutional guarantees of equal rights, equal dignity, and equal sovereignty for all. If you look closely at the centers of power and decision-making, the reality of exclusion and underrepresentation become even more evident. Out of a cabinet of 21 ministers, only 3 are women. The National Assembly has only 5 female members, while there is no Christian, no person with disability, no Manjaro, no Korominka, and no Mankai in our National Assembly. Of the 8 local government heads, only 1 is a female. There are no female governors. There is no doubt that successive governments since 1965 have frantically worked to develop this country. From the creation of policies, laws, and institutions, they have invested billions in the social and productive sectors and provided a host of goods and services. Yet 60 years later, the country remains a least developed nation at the bottom rungs of human development. Another country, Singapore, gained independence in 1965 as the Gambia. Having worked personally for years in the policy and governance and development space, I have come to a clear realization that the Gambia does not lack human, financial, material, natural, or intellectual resources. But what we lack and what has consistently undermined our development are two fundamental governance failures. The first problem is the lack of or limited effectiveness of the state in performing its functions in accordance with the law, professional ethics, and public service standards. As a result, service delivery is generally poor, inefficient, erratic, and costly. This fuels poverty, high cost of living, limited opportunities, and social ills such as crime, juvenile delinquency, substance abuse, prostitution, and the back way. Corruption, abuse of office, disregard of the rule of law, and human rights violations have often gone unchecked and unpunished, highlighting a weak legal, policy, and institutional environment. Our second problem, in my estimation, is the widespread presence of discrimination and exclusion, disempowerment, voicelessness, and powerlessness. These are sustained by patriarchy, harmful traditional and cultural practices, weak institutions, selective enforcement of the law, and low levels of civic awareness and participation. It is against this backdrop of these two interconnected problems, that is a state problem and a people problem, and the fervent desire to find solutions, that the Edward Francis Moore Center for Rights and Justice was conceived. In the first problem, the core issue is the absence of transparent and accountable state. Without transparency and accountability, performance, efficiency, and delivery cannot be achieved. In their absence, lawlessness, abuse, corruption, and inefficiency become the defining characteristics of governance and government. In the second problem, the absence of freedom, equality, and empowerment limits citizen empowerment, participation, and representation, and citizen action, allowing therefore injustice and poor governance to persist unchallenged, hence the dire socio-economic challenges. For these reasons, EFSCRJ Center has anchored its work on 5 interdependent program pillars. First pillar is freedom, to ensure that fundamental freedoms are upheld and exercised without fear of reprisals. Number 2, equality, to eliminate discrimination and promote inclusion in participation opportunities and service delivery. Number 3, empowerment, to enhance civic awareness, agency, and the capacity of the citizen to advocate for their rights. Number 4, transparency, to promote open governance, access to information, and public oversight. And number 5, accountability, to strengthen the rule of law, combat impunity, and ensure responsibility in the exercise of power. Our theory of change is rooted in the belief that empowered citizenry, efficient institutions, and accountable governance mutually reinforce each other. Democratic transformation is not linear. It is a ripple effect. By empowering individuals, reforming systems, strengthening institutions, and shifting norms, we plant seeds of justice that grow into irreversible change. Therefore, our ultimate vision is a Gambia where governance is transparent, freedoms are protected, and all citizens, regardless of gender, ethnicity, religion, disability, or class, share equally in prosperity and dignity. By empowering citizens, reforming laws and institutions, and holding duty bearers accountable, EFSCRJ Center seeks to catalyze a virtuous cycle of democratic resilience. To operationalize this vision, we have developed a strategic plan covering 2025 to 2029, which clearly articulates our mission, goals, objectives, and priorities. Thus, our overall goal is a Gambia where citizens actively shape governance, institutions serve justly, and human rights are non-negotiable. Our objectives are aligned to the 5 pillars. Our vision is an open, just, and equal society where all human beings enjoy unfettered freedom. We will achieve our vision and mission through public education, capacity building, evidence-based advocacy, activism, knowledge generation, and strategic partnerships. We will work with individuals, communities, civil society organizations, state institutions, and development partners to strengthen transparency and accountability systems and processes, promote participatory and inclusive governance, and nurture a society of informed, active, and organized human rights defenders, promoters, and monitors. As our name implies, this center draws deep inspiration from Edward Francis Small. In 1920, he boldly declared no taxation without representation. Today, in 2026, standing on his legacy, we declare no representation without respect for human rights, adherence to the rule of law and due process, and the effective and efficient delivery of public goods and services. This is our vision and our mission and the moral foundation of the Edward Francis Small Center for Rights and Justice. Let this be clear. As eternal vigilance is the price of freedom, we will not allow the sentry to go to sleep at his post. Equally, we are ready, as always, to be held accountable for the things we say we will do, and the standards against which we hold duty bearers. So hold us to account, but rest assured we will not spare anyone or anything to ensure accountability. I thank you very much. This is our vision and mission, ladies and gentlemen.